Hey friends, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can customize your multilingual dropdown to go from this to this. Let's get into it. Before I begin, let's make sure we're on the same page. Two notes. First and foremost, what you're looking at right now with the translation is the Weglot plugin. You could translate your website literally in less than 90 seconds into hundreds of languages. If you have not got set up yet, I've partnered with Weglot to get you a special promotion on this video. Use the link down below to get started today and get a discount on your subscription. Number two, all the code I'm going to provide will also be linked down below in the Notion page. On that page, you'll see all the code, and you could take that, copy and paste it, and use it on your website today. All right, so as we begin, I will go into the editor. We do want to make sure we understand all our options, so I'm going to click Edit Site Header. From here, I'm going to hover over the language switcher and click on that and click the pencil. From there, you see some options. I'm going to move them right here. So you have display, flag, and text. You have icon and text only. From there, you have flag shape, flag size, customizing the flags, and then you have a drop-down arrow and being able to customize that. But there are limitations here. So for example, if I really like the icon but don't want to have the text, I don't really have an option for that. And if I want the flag but I don't want the text, I don't have an option for that either. Because the text just adds a lot of space on the navigation and it's a little bit hard to customize further than that. So we're going to make it to exactly what we like in a moment here. As well as customizing the flags, you would do that here. So just being mindful of that those features are already built in. So leverage those features for any of the changes that you want to do like that, but we're going to cover all the other good stuff. For now, and this is going to be important as we start customizing it, I am using the flag and text option, which is going to be the first one I want, as it is the way I want the list to show, and we'll be able to customize how it shows up in the navigation. Now, just note that as we start custom coding this, just know that I do have the flag and text and the circle pre-selected. All right, so we'll exit out of that and then we'll go to pages. And then we'll go down here to custom code and click custom CSS. And in here, we are going to start customizing this. Now, what I'm going to do is just drop all the code in here, and then we're going to review it as we go. All right, let's start with the top. So here, I actually want to hide the flag. Let me show you what this is. You'll see that the flag shows up here, but I want to replace the flag with the globe. I kind of like the flag there. Honestly, I could go either way, but I do like getting rid of all these color options in my navigation and keeping it more streamlined. And so using the globe there is way more preferred, in my opinion, for this site than having different flags in the navigation. As well as I do want to get rid of the actual text in the navigation, the name of the language. It's nice, but it's not necessary. So if I show you here, having it say English, if anyone's looking at the website, they're generally going to know what language it is. And so I don't necessarily need it to take up all that real estate in the navigation. So I'll get rid of that as well. But the thing is, I do want it to show up down here. And that's why I have flag and text selected in the Squarespace preset, like the native settings. But I am customizing how it looks in the navigation so it takes less real estate, because that top bar is so important. And I want the most important things to show up there with easy access to translate. Then the thing I want to customize is the space between the arrow and the actual globe. It's actually a little bit too far away, in my opinion. I want it just a little bit closer. So you'll see here, I added this margin right to 2 pixels, basically making it less. I don't know what it was before, but it was maybe 8, let's say, or 4 or something. And now it's 2. So it's a little bit closer. Now from here, we want to customize how the menu actually shows up, and there's a few cool things that I've added in. All right, for these items, we're going to get really in-depth with some code, but this should be really easy to cover, and I'll keep it high level. This left -6 is basically choosing where this menu shows up on the navigation. And right now, I kind of like it center like this versus anything else. And so if I maybe go like this and get rid of it, you see how the navigation kind of shows up all the way to the right, or pushes it all the way this way. In some ways that's good because we are very close to the edge of the screen, but I also want it to be a little bit more center. And so this left -6 is helping center it. The other item here that's really important, and I might move this up for you as well, but this minimum width on line 21 right now, This is really important because this is the width of the actual menu at the very minimum. So right now it says 150. If I change it, get rid of the 5, you'll see that it actually cuts the menu a little bit shorter, and it doesn't feel as like airy or nice. And so I could play with this number. I could do 140, I could do 150, I could do 180, whatever necessarily works for you. And again, it is getting close to the edge, so be mindful of that. But in this case, I really do like about 150 or 140. And so I'll customize it like that, and it just feels a little bit nicer. Now, when I go to 140, it feels a little off center. And so then I would go back to the 6 and then play with it. You could do 6.5, 7, 7.5. In this case, I'll do 5. Oops, -5. And that feels way more center. Again, you could play with it to like get it perfect, but I'll leave it at that for now. Now we have this border radius. This rounds the corners of that drop down navigation. So we have it to 5 right now. I'm gonna do some crazy number, and I'm just gonna do 555. As you see now, it looks like a circle. Obviously this doesn't work, but you're seeing what it is customizing on the ends. So I'm gonna keep it at 5. You could use that. Padding right and then padding bottom. So the padding right adds a little bit of breathing room on the right side of the menu. Again, if I get rid of this, you could see here, it just feels a little bit tighter. Again, it works, it's totally fine, but it adds a little bit of breathing room. Padding bottom adds a little bit of space to the bottom of the navigation because it gets really close, as you can see here, natively. Padding top, 10, again, some additional breathing room. Then this transition, this is important for just the overall menu experience that we'll get into in the next items, just having that there. And then the border is this 1 pixel around. And so right now I have it set to like an off black. Depends on your website, the color of your website. We have this like line on our website as well, which is nice. And so it kind of all feels branded really easily, really quickly. If I got rid of this, for example, if I just went to 0, it looks good, but it kind of gets lost. So having that there is nice. Usually with borders like that, I try to keep them very minimal. So I might do something like a little bit lighter. So in this case, maybe like a light gray. It's a little bit too light. Let's try this. That can work. In some cases, that looks really nice. It gives just a nice distinction, but it's not too loud. I'm gonna change it back to this hex code here, and we could go from there. And if you don't know what that is, just go to Google, type in hex code, and then search, and you can find any color you want that you could choose for that specifically. All right, now let's talk about the language items. Now, I've added a little bit of line height and padding so that each item has a little bit of breathing room. Again, let me get rid of this, and you'll see that stuff just gets a little bit close. When there is no breathing room. The items themselves, it looks like I actually have spacing a little bit around the site. Now, padding and line height is really nice because when I go into hover over these, this is going to be the spacing that will be taken, as you'll see in these next items, that will allow this gray to show behind it, so it's more interactive. The default settings don't give you any interactive options, and I really love this kind of experience because it allows me to see and focus in on what I'm about to click on and know that it's clickable as well. And then that's where these settings come in. So what this is saying basically is any item that's basically not being hovered over will go down in opacity to 50% opacity, 0.5. Any item that is being hovered over will go to a full opacity or stay at 1 opacity, and then the background color will go to this EEE, and the border radius will be 3 pixels. So let's take a look here. So when I hover over this, you'll see here, if I change this EEE to some other, let's just say 222, that's going to be a darker black. You'll see here, the background is now this like dark black. And so this is where you could add any color for a background color on your navigation. So it gives it a little bit more of an experience, and maybe even EEE is too dark. And so I might do like an F1, F1, F1. And that's just a little bit lighter. I think I could be off. They could be the same actually. And then go from there. Here we have 3 pixels. Let's go up to 8 pixels for the border radius. You see, it just adds a little bit of a feel. What did we use earlier? I think it was 5 pixels for the border radius. That just makes it consistent, but it feels really nice. So that gives you full control to customize the menu items the way you like on this navigation. From here, we want to take a look at a few other things. Now, remember before that we had the flag and the name in the navigation. We still have not added the globe, and this is kind of a little bit more advanced, but you have all the code here, so you can just copy and paste it and it'll work perfectly. All right, so to add the globe, we need to add space for the globe. So right here, you could see it says current language before, and it's basically saying before this item, right before it, I want you to place this. The width and the height is going to be 19 pixels. The display is going to be inline block, and then the margin right is going to be 8 pixels. So you get everything there. And then it says the background image here is this URL to the actual SVG. Now, I know this looks crazy what you're looking at here, but this is the SVG in code. And so you can't really edit this or play with this or adjust it, or it will break. But this is the SVG here, and then that's where it ends. And then you get some image settings that just make sure that it shows the SVG perfectly. So honestly, don't need to play with this. You can just leave it as is, and you're good to go. That's what brings the globe in here. So if I highlight, say 58, row 58, all the way to row 42, I get rid of that. You'll see that it gets rid of the globe completely. That's what puts the globe in there for us to see. All right, now we are almost done, and these are really cool features that you can consider. I don't think you need all of these, but I just wanted to show it to you. So first, number 6, optional, this hover effect. This is when you have a current language and you're hovering on it right before how it looks. All right, so when I go here, do you see how this goes to like a light gray here? That's coming from that hover effect. So if I go here and I change this back to 1, you'll see that there's no hover effect. But if you do want any type of effect there, let me put it to 0.5. Let me point to 0.1 even. You'll see it like almost looks like it disappeared. So I'll keep it at 0.7. You could use that as you like. It's not necessary, but it's just an add-on. So you could use. Another one is going to be, do you see how the arrow's blue? You can't really click the arrow, but I just know that sometimes people want to customize the color of the arrow, and you could possibly do that in Squarespace, but I did want to show you a bit of a tip and trick here that you could add the fill and the stroke to be whatever color you want. As you can see, it's the blue here, and you could use that down here. So you just got to find the hex code, replace that to the color you like, and you will be good to go. Now, one thing we have not talked about, and this can get really intricate fast, but I'm going to show you a quick answer to all of this, which is mobile. Now, let's take a look at what this looks like on mobile. I'll click the phone icon here to see the mobile view, and then I'll click on my navigation. Now, the way this is set up is that this icon is 19 pixels by 19 pixels. Maybe you want to make that bigger, but maybe you actually do want the language to show up here because it will be a little bit clearer of what this is. Well, in that case, we could take all these settings, because you don't need hover effects on mobile. We could take all of these settings and group it so it is only for desktop. Let me show you that now. I am going to select all this code. If you have other code, you don't need to select it, but I'm going to select all of this, and then I'm going to hit Shift and then hit the brackets key, and I'm going to add brackets around all of this code. Basically, I added a bracket at the top here and at the very bottom. And now we need to add in just this here where it says media screen minimum width 480. You could adjust this how you like. I could even do like 640 here, and then perfect. Now this is all saying anything at the minimum width, anything above this size will now be edited with this code. Anything below this side, this code will not affect. And so you could see here, shows English, full on, everything is normal on the experience here, where if we go back to desktop, you'll see it has all the customizations that we've added. Now, I know there are a lot of different customizations you could do on your site with something like this, and so drop some comments below if you have any questions, and maybe other people in the community could help answer those questions. This feature is so cool. I love Weglot, and if you haven't signed up yet, definitely check out the link down below to get started today and translate your website to grow your business. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.